Hello, Tungsten Miner here. You can see behind me the beginnings of my stable. So I'm going to walk you through what I've got so far, plans for the future, and a little bit on how you breed animals in Lord of the Rings. It's a little different than vanilla. Let's jump in. Okay, first off, the stable. So last time I left off, I had just finished kind of expanding the grounds by one ring. So this is 10 meters down from the hill up there. Basically just added a wall around the outside edges here. And I had said I wanted to dedicate this space for the stable, which I clearly have begun to do. So I've got regular Gondor brick. I've got holly leaves, which just taking some shears to these trees gets me these nice bushes. These are Gondor pillars with a little bit of purpled fantasy block with a gold snake decoration on top. That one deserves a little bit more explanation. That's basically this guy here. And I think it's one of these guys. Anyway, the notion is you make this purpled fantasy block, the recipe for that being take some stone, pop a gold nugget in the middle, you get 8 of these blocks again, and then you run it through chisel and you can get any one of these various different patterns. And I just picked one that I liked, and that's what I've got up here. Looks very, very fancy, and is actually not all that terribly expensive. We have recently added microblocks, so that's what this is. It's a Gondor pillar, but I have sliced it using the saw into 1/8 thickness slabs, or covers as they're called. And so I've put those up there. Both it gives you a little bit of kind of dimension, perspective, 3D effect, and it looks nice. It's a nice little kind of border between the roof and the rest of the building. These are from Architecture Craft. They're just round posts. These are just the light orbs you get when you use an illumin focus. Inside here, I've got gravel. I've got barren dirt, which is from the Lord of the Rings mod. Oh no, actually it's vanilla. And then I've started stocking up some food for the animals. I've got my horses and I've got my rhinos. In here, these are Architecture Craft pillars made out of just Gondor rock. And this is all holly for the fences and gates and so forth. Eventually, I'll have some Dol Amroth gates, or maybe just some wooden gates, closing up the entrances here, so this can be completely enclosed. If we look towards the roof line here, let's see if I can jump up there. Here we go. I have got a whole bunch of Architecture Craft blocks. So here I've got the roof overhang block. And I happen not to have any with me. Let me see here. Yeah, probably best is to do this. So you can see the roof overhang block has this kind of outline to it, where it's got a flat bottom, but it doesn't go all the way across the full meter. It goes 5/8 of the way or so, and then it goes up and has just a bit of an overhang there. So you get this nice effect of having an overhang. This is just a regular triangular block. It's just called a roof tile block. Whoops. And that one just goes pretty much straight through the middle of the meter. You can kind of see it there, and gets you this nice triangular shape. That's a better example. And then on the top here, I've created what is called cladding. And the way this works is if you've got a block like this one, which is just a roof tile, so it's a roofing kind of block, I can take my cladding and I can just right click on that, and it gives it the texture on the top only for all of the cladding. And you'll notice for the overhang blocks, that texture wraps around. So wherever it ought to look like a roof, it wraps around and looks like a roof. Now on the front here, I've done something a little different. I'm using the gable overhang, and this block you can see gives you kind of just a little extra piece with a little extra bit of that roof there. And then I've got a regular gable overhang here, and this is a separate one that's the end. And these come in left and right varieties. They also come in that kind of peak variety up there. And although it's a little hard to see, let me see if I can get up there. Here we go. There's also a version that's in the valley. So there's a valley overhang and there's a peak, a ridge overhang. So just by lining up the right ones, you can get this nice effect of having a little bit of a lip or an overhang on your roof without it seeming excessive, like a whole meter's worth. And so the intention here obviously is to clad and build out the rest of the roof following the same pattern that I've got here. So this is a gabled roof valley that is where the two of them join up, and then roof tile, and a gabled roof ridge that goes all the way to the top. And then I've got my gabled or my ridge overhang over here. So that gives me the basic roof line. This is just holly wood beams. So take 3 holly logs, stack them on top of each other, and you get one of those. Get 3 of those actually. And inside here, I'm planning to put in some shelves for saddles and lassos or leads rather, extra food, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that gives us a pretty good idea of the building itself. Now on to the animals. So breeding in Lord of the Rings mod is a little different than breeding in vanilla. What you have is, if you look at my top right corner, you can see every animal has some number of health. So it's kind of hardiness, how much damage it can take, represented by the hearts across. So that's 40 altogether. It has a jump strength, somewhere around jump strength of like 6 or so. You can start, or 0.6, you can start jumping up over multiple blocks. Somewhere around 1.0 is the max, and you can jump like 5 meters straight up with that. And then speed, I'm not exactly sure what units these are reported in, but whatever they are, the maximum that you can get, I think, on any animal is 0.45. So rhinos are pretty speedy. And these ones are ones that I have specifically bred to be as speedy as possible. But it's getting a little dark here, so I'm going to take a rest, and I will be right back with you. Okay. So the way this works, similar to breeding other animals, in the basic mechanics, let me grab a little bit of wheat, which is what you can use to breed rhinos. Happen to have 2, and I'm going to grab a lead. So I'm going to take a peek at my rhinos, and I'm breeding for speed at the moment. So that's 3281, that's 3143, and that's 3502. So clearly, this is one of my faster ones. So I'm going to pull him out, and I'll just tie him to that post. And I've got this, and I'm going to hit this one and this one. 2 of them will do their thing. Less said, the better. And we wind up with 0.030. That is disappointing. It can happen that way. Normally, what happens when you're breeding 2 animals is the child's stats are going to be chosen from the range of the 2 parents' stats. And there's a little bit of variation on those. So it can be a little bit better. And so what you wind up with is a new animal that has pretty random stats, but they're going to be somewhere pretty close to what the parents are. And there's a possibility that the variation is better. And so over time, you can reasonably expect that your animals are going to get better and better as you go along. Unfortunately, I don't really need this rhino, so we're just going to get rid of this baby rhino. Because I've only got so much room. So I will try again later, and hopefully the results will turn out better. This rhino, in fact, is my best rhino, and it is the result of breeding, these other 2 rhinos. Fortunately, actual genetics don't really come into play, so you don't have to worry about inbreeding. The process, though, basically is what I just did. You just keep it up, and the random variations will eventually wind you up with animals that are at the top end of the range. And you just keep going. You need apples to breed horses. You need wheat. And I think a whole bunch of other things work for rhinos too. The Lord of the Rings wiki has all the details. But I think that pretty much gets us what we're going to have for now. I'm going to take a little pause with this video and finish building the stable, and I will be right back with you. And here we are. The stable is now complete. I've got the roof pretty much all the way around as I wanted it. I've got all the overhangs, and that looks nice. all the decoration, the holly bushes. I even put up some banners. And inside, I've got my animals nicely penned away. I've got all the gates and everything else. I've actually been spending a little time breeding up these rhinos. So my worst rhino is now a speed of 0.36, and the best one is up to 0.39. So getting pretty darn close to the theoretical maximum of, I think it's 0.4 for rhinos. So this is about as fast a rhino as you're going to get. I've been working with my horses just the same, and they're coming along, not quite as well. Stored in a fair bit of hay, which is for feeding the rhinos, and I put in some apple trees for feeding the horses. Around the sides here, I decided to put in some doors leading into the paddocks so that I can grab a lasso, I can pull the rhinos out that I want to breed. I've got the food right here. And then this gives me enough room to kind of suss out which of the parents and child are the best ones. And I get rid of the extra, whichever is the worst animal, and then put away the 3 animals I've got left and do that on both sides. So pretty good stable. Now, the other thing I did, kind of got distracted, is remember there used to be a humongous tower right here? Well, obviously there isn't. The problem I was running into is, you remember there was a huge ramp that came up right here, and the road came up right here, went straight up right into the door. But that didn't give you any way to, like, grab an animal and take an animal out. In fact, there was no way for that to happen at all. And once I had made the staircase kind of inaccessible, so I didn't have enemies dropping down into this part of the grounds, you kind of couldn't get an animal out of the grounds at all. And you couldn't get down here at all. And if you were down here, you couldn't get up there, so it was kind of a mess. And I thought about all my different options. What I ultimately decided to do was take the road, have it turn a bit, and I just built an entirely new gatehouse. Pretty much the same notion as the old one. Obviously not quite so big, a little closer to the ground. Made the doorways a teeny bit taller. Over here, I've followed the same design I added for the other towers. This goes up to a room that's kind of halfway. I should probably put some lights in here, huh? Let's do that now. There we go. And then this ladder just continues straight up to get to the top. So here is what we wind up with as our view down to the valley. And you can bring in a horse or a rhino and have it walk right through, get onto this side of things, and then you can head over to the stables, put the animal away, and then I added this staircase to be able to walk straight up to the inner part of the keep, and then finally to the keep itself. Finally, the one last thing I did when I was finishing things up is I added in a reed pool. I guess I need to harvest these and finish off. I didn't quite have enough reeds. But that should give me a pretty good source of reeds for paper and dried reeds for baskets and all sorts of other stuff like that. And that, I think, is about it for now. The one thing that I wanted to remember, and I almost forgot again, is to talk about this cladding up here. So, what you can see, I've got, oh, now I'm making a hash of everything. Here we go, try again. On the roof here, you can see that in the top right corner it says roof tile, and it's got just a wooden block there. But obviously the top of this thing is blue, and it looks like blue tiles. Well, what that is I make myself some blue, these guys, blue clay tiling. So I make regular clay tiling, which is just 4 hardened clay blocks, mix it into a tile, add some blue bells or lapis in the center. That gets you blue tiling to blue clay tiling. And then you take this and you drop it on your architect's table, and down at the bottom, there's a little section there. Let's see if I can get up here and show you. That has just other as its name. And the very, very last thing on other is cladding. And the intention for that is to put it on top of certain blocks that are expected to have multiple textures. So if I put my blue tile right here, I'm going to get 16 of these little slivers back again. Why is this good? Well, I can make the roof itself out of something cheap, like Hollywood, which I have lots and lots of, and I can make the roof itself out of something kind of difficult. Clay is not super easy to find. Bluebells and lapis are not easy to find. Lapis, especially in this mod pack, can only be found in Harad, which I'm negatively aligned towards. So if I wanted to go find some, they'd come and attack me. And this allows me to really get a lot of use out of it. So I get 16 roof tiles, basically, for every one of those blocks that I create. And that allowed me to make this whole roof with something like a stack of tiles only, which is really, really much better than trying to make the whole roof out of those clay tiles. So spread those materials along quite a long ways. That's it, I think, for the stable project, and as it turns out, for the new gatehouse and stairway project. I might even put in a farm for making wheat over here. I've got a hobbit up on the higher elevations of the keep doing that, but I might move that down here because this is where the hay really gets used. So I think that is it for now. I will talk to you later.